Constitution of India has taken the features from the various other nations' constitutions, be written or unwritten. From UK, which is an unwritten constitution, nominal head, president, cabinet system of ministers, post of the prime minister, parliamentary type of government, bicameral, lower house and upper house. These are all the things, and provision of speaker also taken from the UK constitution. From USA, which is a written constitution, appointment of vice president, fundamental rights, Supreme Court, head of the known state as a president, provision of the states and judicial review are taken from USA. From Australia, concurrent list, center-state relationship and language of preamble are taken. From USSR, fundamental duties and 5-year plan. From Germany, emergency provisions. From Japan, law on which the Supreme Court functions. From Canada, it is a federal system and residuary powers. From South Africa, procedure of a constitutional amendment. From Ireland, concept of the directive principles of state policy. Maybe a question may come from one of these, like giving the features and which the total time has taken for the framing of the constitution is 2 years, 11 months and 17 days, and it was passed and accepted on November 26, 1949, which we celebrate as a constitutional day, and all the 284 members who were there in the Constituency Assembly on 26 November 1949 signed the Indian Constitution. 26th January we celebrate as a Republic Day. The basis for the choosing 26th January is this was the day on 1930 as a Purna Swaraj it was declared. So this date is taken to implement Constitution in 1950. Preamble is an important. Some of the features may be asked, like we have a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. Of which socialist and secular have been added by 42nd Amendment and rest all from the beginning. So what is the justice, liberty, equality, fraternity? These are all the things, maybe directly or indirectly they may be asking. Some of the important features of our Indian Constitution. It is the supremacy of the Constitution. Constitution is the top most document above which nothing is there. Everything, all the governance has to be under the Constitution. Then the division of powers between the various state unions and state, and independence of the judiciary is also important in the Constitution. Then other features includes single citizenship, single constitution. Here the single constitution important is that when Jammu and Kashmir was merged in India, they had the separate constitution. With the latest repeal of Article 370 and 35A, now whole of the India has a single constitution. So there may be a slight question because I think after last Aibe, there is a second, after the amendment, I think this is a second Aibe exam, so we may expect a question with related to Jammu and Kashmir. Then other features, power of union to override the state matters. We have various articles are there, including the state emergencies and other systems. Then the another feature is changing the names of the states, boundaries of the states, formation of the new states. That is also one feature. Then the integrated judiciary system and appointment of the governors, dependence on the states for the economic assistance and grants. So these are some of the key features that we should remember with our constitution. This is a basic structure of the constitution when it was framed, with the 22 parts covering the 395 articles.
They are actual
Here,
or manipulated.
these 22 pots, presently they are the 25 pots.
Only first 100
The
they are
addition of
manipulated.
the
बाकी
each
16
pot is uh, named as a 21A, then the 41A, and then 51A. So these are all the pots, additional three pots. The total is 25, but as a number it is only 22 pots. Similarly, articles also there are 105 amendments were there so far. Each amendment to the article is named as a subclass like A, B, C, D. But in all, it is more than 470 articles if you count A, B, C. Otherwise, those 395 as a whole. The schedules originally there were 8 schedules, then the 4 schedules are added for the various requirements which will be
I don't know
discussed.
much of that. Actually PowerPoint में versions होता है.
We try to remember some of the important articles because it is not possible to remember all the 395 articles, but important we should know, and at least part wise if you can, or a topic wise, it will be easy for us to remember. Like the part 1 is article 1 to 4, starting from the definition of our state and then up to their division of the states and powers, article 3. Then the part 2 talks about the citizenship, who can be a citizen, what are the terms and conditions, article 5 to 11. The part 3 talks about the fundamental rights, which is more important. Article 12 defines the state, or define the government, and up to the article 35 there are the fundamental rights, in which article 14, 19, 20, 21, and 32 are very important. Then the part 4 are the directive principles of the state policy, are covering article 36 to 51. Then the fundamental duties, that is the article 51A, that is the additional part, it is taken as amendment. Then the part 5 is the union, which includes the 52 to 151. In the union, election of the president, election of the vice president, then the cabinet ministers, union, all those including the powers of the president, everything is covered under the part 5 with respect to the central government, article 52 to 151. Similarly, the part 6 that covers for all the states, 152 to 237, including the powers of the governor and election of the chief minister, assemblies, and councils, all those things also given in the article 152 230.
Try it, otherwise
The part
next time when
7
I'll try to get it. Okay.
actually article the first schedule,
Hours you try
it was repealed, the part B of that one, article 23 to 38. Then the 48 is the union territories, 239 to 245, administration of the union territories, appointment of the lieutenant general, governor generals, those are the things we'll be discussing in the part 8. Then the part 9 talks about the panchayatis, like a village administration, article 243 to 243O. Part 9A talks about the municipalities and articles 243P to 243ZH, whereas subclasses are there. Part 9B, cooperative societies, articles 243 to 240ZH to 240Z2. These are all the sub-articles. The part 10 talks about the scheduled and tribal areas, which will cover article 244 to 244A. The part 11 covers the relationship between the union and the states, article 245 to 263. State list, concurrent list, all those things will be covered on 245 to 263. The part 12 talks about the finance, properties, contracts, and suits, the role of the government in contracts. Those are the things. It will be covered under article 264 to 300A. Then the part 13 talks about the trade and commerce within India, articles 301 to 307. So anything related to trade or a commerce questions comes immediately, we should remember the 301 to 307. If we at least remember the titles with the clauses, it will give us an idea, because there is a multiple choice, we will be able to identify. Then the part 14 talks about the services under the union and the states, including the UPSC, civil services, and state services, article 308 to 323. Part 14A tribunals, Article 323A to 323B. What are the tribunals? Are like income tax tribunals, state tribunals. Those are all the things are covered under the Part 14A. Articles we should remember 323A and 323B. This is also related to the services. That is the reason after 323 they are included. Part 15 talks about the elections, 324 to 329A. What are the general elections for the state and government and election commissioners? Those are all the things covered under 324 to 329A. Part 16 covers the special provisions relating to certain clauses, Article 330 to 342. And part 17 covers the languages. What are the languages they are covered, which is also under the schedule. Languages, Article 343 to 351. So like that they are. Thing we should remember. Then the part 18 emergency provisions, including the state emergency and internal emergency, financial emergency, they are all covered under 352 to 360. So at the time of this emergency situation, fundamental rights are suspended. So which are the fundamental rights cannot be suspended as per the Jabalpur verdict. So these are all the things also may come into picture. So part 19 miscellaneous, 361 to 367. Part 20 amendment to the constitution. Important in part 20 is the article 368. This is a basic, like article 13, how the constitution cannot be changed, overriding. And 368, what is the power of the constitution to change the amendments. So part 3 will be knowing about the article 13, which is also fundamental right, and part 20 talks about the 368 change to the amendment. What is the procedure, how a simple amendment can be done, what is a simple majority, what is a special majority, that also will be discussed. The part 21 talks about the temporary or transitional provisions, which is covered under article 369 to 392. Part 22 covers about the short title, commencements, and repeals and other things. That is the last part, 393 to 395. So these are all the parts of a constitution. We'll be just briefly discussing about important articles very quickly, just to give a quick memory for us, so that we can write the exam. Because it is a multiple choice, as I already told, at least if you have an idea, it is easy for us to answer. And the procedure to amendment of the constitution by simple majority, what are the amendments can be done, and by special majority, what is a special majority? It is a two-third of the members present, but a minimum of the members should be there in the house. If it is a simple majority, it is a simple simply whoever is present, 50%, more than 50% should be voting in favor. That is a simple majority. And a special majority, there is a ratification also is there, that also is there by for the president consent, it is so main characteristics of our Indian constitution is this is one of the longest written constitution in the world, and it's partly rigid and partly flexible, and it's a democratic republic and parliamentary system, federation, which has a fundamental rights, directive principles, fundamental duties, secular state, independent judiciary, and single citizenship. And president is the custodian of the Indian constitution, and Supreme Court is the guardian of the constitution. Sometimes they may ask a question like who is the custodian, who is the guardian. Some confusion will be there whether it's a chief justice or your Indian president. So this is the thing. So now we'll be very briefly covering the important articles. Article 1 defines the country as a union of states. Article 3, it talks about the formation of the new states. Article 5 to 11, acquisition and maintaining the citizenship. Article 12, definition of the state. Article 13, doctrine of eclipse and how the article can, amendments can be done or cannot be done. Article 14 talks about the right to equality, rule of law. Article 15 and 16 talks about the non-discrimination with a regional classification. While Article 15 is in a general in nature and Article 16 with respect to the employment and reservation. Then the part 3 talks about the Article 12 to 35, whereas the Article 17 is the abolition of untouchability. Article 8 is the abolition of the titles. Article 9, which has seven fundamental rights, of which the seventh one, that is the property, is removed, and it has added as a constitutional right from fundamental right. Others are the right to equality, freedom, freedom of religion, right against exploitation, cultural educational rights, and right to the constitutional remedies. Article 19.2 talks about the reasonable restrictions on all the fundamentals. Then fundamental rights, there are other articles are there. Article 20, protection against the conviction, protection of the life and personal liberty. Then the right to education, that is a amendment in Article 21 for all the citizens ages between 6 to 14. Then the Article 22, protection against the detention. Article 23, prohibition of human trafficking or exploitation. Article 24 talks about the prohibition of the child labor. Article 25-26 gives the religious freedom to practice the religion, propagate the religion. Article 27 talks about the prohibition of the state to collect the funds for the religious purposes. Article 28 talks about the religious freedom to start the educational institutions, establish their own without any state fund. Article 29, protection of the minority interest. Here important thing is minority is not defined in constitution, so it is anything other than the majority is considered the minority. Article 29 protects the minority with respect to the language, with respect to the religion and other social institutions. Article 30 talks the right of minority to establish their own minority institutions and they monitor the institution. Article 31 A to D, which talks about the acquisition of the land by the government with the amendments, and it is also related to the property, where the amendments are taken the right to property, and by inserting the amendments A to D, the government can take the land with giving a proper compensation. In the Article 32, most important thing is the constitutional remedy. With respect to the 32, it is in Supreme Court, and Article 226 is the right to the constitutional remedies.
Are you living?
High Court, in addition to the other
You are living?
Constitutional rights.
Article
33, it is a power to make the laws by the parliament.
No, nothing. You take
Article 34 and 35,
late.
restrictions on the fundamental rights during the martial law.
Okay.
Article 35A was a special status given to the Jammu and Kashmir, and with Article 35A as well as 370 revocation or removing, now this is no more in force. With respect to the DPSP's directive principles of state policies, Article 36 to 51 are covered. Here some of the important things we can say. The Article 36 covers the definition, and 37 how the application of DPSP is done, and the 38 promoting the welfare and reducing the inequalities, 39 right to livelihood, and 39A talks about the free legal aid to the needy. Article 14 talks about the village panchayats. Article 41 right to vote. Article 42 human conditions and maternity relief. Article 43 a living wage. Article 44 Uniform Civil Code. Article 44 is also important. Then Article 45 Free and compulsory education. Actually, this became a fundamental right with the amendment of Article 21A. So now Article 46 promoting the economic and educational interests among the weaker sections. Article 47 raising the level of nutrition and standard of living. Article 48 banning of the cows and milking animals and developing agricultural and animal husbandry. Article 49 protection of the cultural heritage. Article 50 talks about the separation of the judiciary from the executive. Article 50 also we should remember it's separation of the judiciary from the executive. Article 51, another important thing, promotion of international peace and harmony. India's role in international relations, including the UNO, Article 51 talks about this directly. Now, part 4A to that is Article 51A amendment, which is a fundamental duties. So there are certain duties are there, like how to and what are the citizens expectations by the state, that how the citizen should behave, say respect to the national anthem, respect to the constitution, abide by the constitution, and cherish and follow the noble ideas of the freedom struggle, who are the nationals or the leaders of the freedom struggle, protect the sovereignty and integrity, defend and serve the country, promote harmony and brotherhood, and renounce derogatory nature towards the women. These are all some of the fundamental duties. Other duties include the protect the composite culture, protect the environment, and develop the scientific temper to and spirit of reformation, safeguard the public property, abjure the violence, strive towards the excellence of individual and national interest, and the fundamental duty of the parents also specified here, that parents should provide the opportunities to the children for the education and their development. The part 5 talks about the article 52 to 151 about the union government, who are the parts of the union government, and how the government will run. It starts with the article 52, the president of India, uh, like there should be a president of India. Then article 53 to 62 talks about how a president is elected and process of election, terms of the president, re-election of president, qualifications for the president, condition of the president office, oath, affirmation, and article 61 talks about the procedure for impeachment, and article 62 filling of the vacancy of president, like vice president takes the position in absence of the president, and if both vice president and president is absent, who will head the who will be acting as the president? It is chief justice of India. It happens once, and chief justice of India, his excellency Hidayatullah, acted as the president of India once so far. Article 63 to 73 talks about the vice president, including the need for the vice president, then the elections of the presidents and role of the vice president as a chairman of the Council of Ministers as well as the Rajya Sabha, and what is how the process of election, how the filling of the vacancy, term of office, and discharge of the duties of the president in contingency, election process, and powers and communication for the pardoning of the sentences. President has certain powers of pardoning, and vice president do have, but there is certain restrictions. And Article 73 talks about the extent of the executive power given to the vice. And here we try to just understand some of the important constitutional bodies. Always there may be confusion. For example, Chief Vigilance Commission is one of the important body. It is a statutory body, not the constitutional body. Always there may be confusion. Here some of the important constitutional bodies are there, which we should remember if possible with the article. That article 76 talks about the Attorney General. Article 148 talks about the Control and Auditor General. Article 165 talks about Advocate General of State. And Articles 243I, State Finance Commission. Article 243K, State Election Commission. And with respect to the District Planning Committee, Article 243Z, Metropolitan Planning Committee 243, Interstate Council 263, Finance Commission 280, that is 280. Here we can see the Planning Commission is not a constitutional body, only the Finance Commission is a constitutional body. Then we have, based on the amendments, Goods and Service Tax Council is there. Now UPSC is also one of the constitutional body, State Public Commission and Election Commission. These are some of the important constitutional bodies. And in addition to that, there are other constitutional bodies with respect to the various commissions, like National Commission for the Scheduled Castes, Scheduled Tribes, Backward Classes, Scheduled Area, Scheduled Tribes, then Official Language Commission, Special Officer on Linguistic Minorities. So these are all the special constitutional bodies. One or two questions may come from this also. Okay, friends, I think this is the part one of the constitution. Uh, if any suggestions or feedback is there, I welcome, so I can improve upon. We have still about 1 month time is there, approximately around 27-28 days are there for the examination, so we can prepare. And meanwhile, people who have not applied for ABE, I request them to apply, uh, because January 16th is the last date. So I'm also bringing a small session on the application process for the ABE. Please go through that, and please do subscribe and share and like it, and you can also press bell icon so that you get notifications whatever the new sessions are coming related to this.